Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where it's currently, early in the morning on the same day this video came out because I've been procrastinating. So I need to get this video done right now so that I can get it uploaded in time. I'll be honest, I've been struggling a little bit with motivation, but realistically that's bound to happen eventually. I don't usually like to say this, but it does actually help if you like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of nonsense. Not even just for the algorithm ranking, I don't care that much about that, although that does help. It's more about my own personal motivation. But anyway, that's not particularly relevant. So we are currently in a position where we need to get this building balance class finished up. And by that, I mean we need to implement a lot of them. So this is going to be kind of a little bit of a tedious episode. We, I think, only need to implement the buildings that we can actually build, but we also need to implement our vehicles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and rename this script from building balance to object balance. Now that's different from the business balance variables, but we can come on in here as soon as this recompiles. Maybe. You okay, Unity? Unity might not be okay, but it looks like we're fine. So let's then rename the class here to object balance. And let's actually make it a mono behavior. I have decided that that probably is going to be the best way moving forward. And then we've got our vehicle types here. So we can then very simply create ourselves a building class like so. And we do want to do a serialize field. So public, and actually we don't need a serialize field up here. We can get rid of that. There we go. This will be a public class, and I'm going to call this vehicle balance base. And this will not be a mono behavior, this is just a data class. So, what do we need in a vehicle balance? Well, we need the cost of the vehicle. So let's go ahead and say public float vehicle cost. Let's say something kind of like public float vehicle range. So how far the vehicle can go without returning to its base for refueling, or if we're talking a truck, going to a fuel depot along the way. Okay, and then public float vehicle speed, which would, of course, be how many hexes per hour, probably, would be the tick we'd be aiming at. So how many hexes per hour this vehicle can traverse. Something along the lines of public float vehicle capacity, which would be in meters cubed. So I'll comment these, actually. So vehicle capacity is cargo capacity in meters cubed. Vehicle speed is traversal speed in hexes per hour. Vehicle range would be traversal range without refueling in hexes. And then the vehicle cost would be cost to acquire vehicle. Because there will probably end up being events to destroy vehicles and you'll have to replace them, like your cars might get, or rather your trucks might get in an accident, or you might have a plane crash or something like that. Now that begs the question, will there be insurance? I don't know. For now, probably not. But vehicle cost, vehicle range, vehicle speed, vehicle capacity. And I'm going to actually rename this because I noticed that vehicle capacity is the same up here. So I'm going to go ahead and say vehicle cargo capacity. There we go. Excellent. Do we need any other variables for our vehicles? Because the route that our vehicle goes on is likely to be determined at the object level, and this is not going to be there. And actually, I don't think we even need base here. I don't think we're going to subclass this. Vehicle cost, vehicle range, vehicle speed, cargo capacity. And then, just so we can verify the one we're going after, I suppose we could do public vehicle type. And I do want to add in a tab here. Not quite to there, but to there is fine. Just to make this nice and straight. It's not strictly necessary, but I like to do it this way. So the vehicle type would simply be type of vehicle considered. So that way we can do comparisons and whatnot, in case we need to later on. So vehicle cost, vehicle range, vehicle speed, and vehicle cargo capacity. Is that all we need? Like, the loading capacity is done by the buildings, as is the sorting capacity. The transport capacity is mostly used to show the capacity on the menu there. And obviously this is a temporary thing. So I think right now this is fine for the vehicle balance. And let's go ahead and do another serialized field. And this will be public class building balance. And this will essentially be this copied and pasted. So we're going to grab this, paste this in here. All these numbers are either absolute or per hour can be deleted because we're going to do a similar sort of thing to this. We'll get rid of the header. We'll do the header later on. So vehicle type, I'm going to rename to vehicle storage type. And we'll say the type of vehicle stored. Yeah, the type of vehicle stored. The amount of vehicles that is not how you spell. Vehicles. There we go. This facility can store. Okay, and then loading capacity. Loading capacity in meters cubed per hour. Sorting capacity is not actually in meters cubed. Sorting capacity in packages per hour. That's not actually based on any sort of size or anything. So that just sorts it at a flat rate. And then the transport capacity is maximum concurrent how do I want to phrase this? Maximum concurrent movement in meters cubed per hour. So essentially all this is it grabs the vehicle type, and then it calculates the vehicle capacity, or it calculates the vehicle cargo capacity times the vehicle capacity. Maybe this should be like hexes per meter cubed per hour. So it can move, say it can move 10 meters cubed, 5 hexes every hour. So essentially that would be returning, instead of maximum concurrent movement, X hexes, and then meters cubed per hour. Kind of like that. So this would change substantially, but we would need a reference to the object balance script, which we don't currently have. So there's that. As to how we'd go about getting that, I'm not exactly sure yet. But first, I want to make sure that this is going to work how I think it is. So let's go ahead and say public building balance postal office. Like so. And then that should get us this class inside the object balance script, which is now a mono behavior. So as soon as this compiles, we will place this on the scripts here. We might move these balance variables here. Isn't there a header here? I mean, many of these will probably move over. Like, for example, the cost of each type of vehicle. That will certainly be moved into this vehicle cost. Right now, let's go ahead and put our object balance here. Yeah, that's kind of what I was afraid of right there. What happens if we serialize field here? Does it show up? The answer is no. Okay. What if we make this a mono behavior? Will it show up now? I do want this to show up in the inspector. It does, but it shows up like this. That's not ideal. Do want this to show up. I'm trying to remember how exactly to go about doing this. Because I want this to show up as a drop down here, the way essentially this elements does. Except I want it to show all of the variables that are publicly exposed here. I suppose we could go through and serialize field all of these, but let's see if that pulls this up. The answer appears to be no. Okay. That's what I thought. I mean, I can't really do show in inspector. I'm trying to remember exactly how that's done. Because with that being the case, we can then delete these defaults, which would be fine. And then the transport capacity, I'm going to remove from here for right now. And I am going to add public building type, just so that we can, again, have a potential comparison. Type of building considered. Okay. And now that we've removed a few things, let's go ahead and fix this. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So. Yeah, there isn't really a show in inspector. Is there? There's a hide in inspector. But yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I guess I'm gonna have to look this up. So let's see here. Unity show non-mono behavior with a U. Thanks, Unity. Show non-mono behavior in inspector. Yeah. Place the system.serializable before the arrayed class declaration. This is for an array, but we're not talking about an array. If your arrayed class inherits from object, don't write it. That is... Yeah. I am using... Oh, I'm using serialize field. What am I doing? This should be system.serializable. There we go. That'll do the trick. Okay. Let's go ahead and save that. And now it should show up, because I was an idiot. That's more like it. That's exactly how I wanted it to show up. So, interestingly, the postal office is giving us a... Yeah, that's actually just fine. Okay, so there are a couple of other things we definitely want. So let's go ahead and do a header right here and just leave that blank for right now. Okay, I think we'll do something along the lines of a header down here. This will be header, and this one will be vehicle, or maybe just vehicles. We'll put in a header here, and this header will be simply capacity. So we can put in different capacities here if we want to. The building type will not have its own header, but down below it, we will go ahead and do header costs. And then public float construction cost, public float demolition cost, and public float upkeep. And this will be, well, the construction cost is cost to build the building, obviously, and we need an additional space there. There we go. And then this is cost to destroy the building, obviously. Cost to destroy the building. Building. Typing is hard at 7:23 in the morning, but that tends to happen. And then upkeep is upkeep cost per day, I think. Most other things are per hour, but per day would be, or per week. We'll go with per week. Okay. You know what would be a really cool feature, actually? If when you hover over these in Unity, if it automatically grabbed those comments, like for example, you hover over this, it automatically grabs those comments and makes it be the tooltip. That'd be really neat. I mean, we can put in tooltips here. We could do tooltip. String tooltip would be upkeep cost per week. And then we can bring that in here. And we would have then a tooltip right there. I'm not sure that's strictly necessary for what we're doing here, but it is a possibility. I was just saying it would be cool if Unity would automatically grab these if you don't define a tooltip and it finds a comment on the same line. It'd be kind of cool if that comment could be grabbed. Not necessarily was grabbed, but could be set up to grab. It'd just be a little easier as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so we've got our construction cost, our demolition cost, and our upkeep. Which does, of course, mean that we'll be getting rid of those in our business balance variables. But that's okay. So this is purely a data class right here. And the question then is, do we calculate it here for doing calculations, or do we just do that elsewhere? I think we do it elsewhere. This is just a data storage class. So we've got our building type, our construction, demolition cost, and upkeep, our sorting and loading capacity, our vehicle capacity, and our vehicle storage type. What else do we need? I suppose... Well, we could base that potentially off of, like, the construction cost. I was just thinking, what about, like, upgrading buildings by, like, I don't know, adding additions to them and being able to add different rooms? Like, for example, in a postal office, you'd be able to add another sorting room to increase the sorting capacity, which would increase the upkeep, and the cost could be based on the construction cost. So I don't think we need that in this particular class here. So as far as the vehicle balance, I'm going to go ahead and bring these guys on over here because I don't like it being uneven like that. Oops, that was one too far. There we go. Excellent. So we've got our vehicle type, our vehicle cost, vehicle range, vehicle speed, and vehicle cargo capacity. Do we need anything else? Like, do we need any fancy headers or anything? I kind of feel like we don't. So we can go ahead and put in a header here in the object balance script, and this would be buildings. And then up above it, let's do a header vehicles. And this header will be public vehicle balance. And this vehicle balance will be for the delivery vehicle. Okay, and then we can set that up in the inspector. So obviously these are drop downs, and we can very easily hide them like that. Drop down the delivery vehicle, and it is set up to a vehicle to a delivery vehicle. We'll have the cost be, I don't know, this isn't particularly realistic, but for right now, the cost of a delivery vehicle will be $100. The vehicle range for one of these should probably be pretty short, maybe around... And one thing I actually want to clarify is what I mean by range. The range is the maximum distance that it can go before it has to turn around and return to a fueling depot. So the range is essentially half of its real range. So it would be able to go out and come back via a different route, potentially. That's just confusing. Let's just say the range is the range, and you can't go any further. So the range here, we'll say is 10. And the vehicle speed in hexes per hour, we'll say is about 1. Half a hex per hour? Maybe. And the vehicle cargo capacity is 10 cubic meters for a delivery vehicle. Okay, so we've got this set up. I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode, we are going to get the rest of these set up. Like I said, these are going to be a couple of kind of tedious episodes. See you all next time.